Sit, turn type, sit. Good boy. Ruff. Be sure you come out and check out the squad on November 14th, Friday, November 14th, at the Mecca, Richfield Park, New York, for Respect Wrestling, presenting No Escape, Friday, November 14th. Don't want to miss it. Doors open at 7 p.m. Bell time is at 8 p.m. Friday, November 14th, at the Mecca, in Richfield Park, New Jersey. Respect Wrestling presents No Escape. You don't want to miss it. Yeah, because, when you're setting up for podcasts and shit like that, things always go awry, but,
Yeah.
we're ready to go and set things up or whatever. How long you guys been podcasting over there, especially pro wrestling?
Honestly, we just started in March of this year.
Has it always been something you guys wanted to do?
Yeah, it's something that we've been talking about wanting to do for a good year or two, and we finally just pulled the trigger this past March.
Oh, okay.
I think we let like 2 WrestleManias go by before we actually got started. And I was just like, why did we start so late?
Listen, when you get to the point that I've gotten to, you start realizing, why am I still doing this? That becomes the next issue.
Okay, got you.
You start looking down the road, it's like, Jesus, don't I have other shit to do with my life? What the fuck is going on here? And rather than sit there and just say, hey, wrestling is not what it seems to be. But yeah, you still push through it. You still push through it. Your boy Santy here with our boy Blackout the Rebel. We're here with the guys from Bell to Bell podcast. And
Yes, sir.
It's always beautiful to see not only more individuals into having the mindset of starting up a podcast, but of course those of color and those of not the other complexion and such.
Right.
And many of us, we get hit with the slings and arrows of, you do know that wrestling's fake, right? Come on, brother, you know better than that. What's your take on what goes on with the culture wars that is wrestling real to us? Damn it!
I mean, the first thing I always say is like, is gravity fake? Like, if I have the strength to physically lift you up and put you in the air, how fake is that fall going to be? Like, you can say scripted, and I think that's just the terminology that we feel so offensive by. It's like, it's not fake, it's scripted. Like, you're taught, how to take a bump, how to take a hit, how to, properly land from a slam or something like that. So yes, it's scripted because you're going to get hit, you're going to get speared. But to say that it's fake, I think it's disrespectful to the people that work so hard trying to make sure that they're putting on a good show, and also making sure that they themselves and their partner or partners, if it's, multiple people in the ring, are safe. Because one misstep and you have people getting injured, aka, Ridge Holland. But that's another story.
Yeah. Listen, people are talking about, well, he should have got another chance. I just realized that I saw an article just now that said the main roster didn't work with him. Yeah, we can see.
The funniest thing is to see his decline, because the main roster didn't work because he was on SmackDown. Then I saw him on NXT for a while, and now I think I saw him on Evolve right before he got released. So it's like he just kept falling down the ladder.
And I remember when he first walked in, he was touted as the next Cena. I was like, wow, huge.
I never heard that.
Yeah, I guess it was because of the look. I don't know anything about the personality, which will segue into, this is why I'm such a great podcaster and such, which will segue into your thoughts about what's been going on this past year with the Cena retirement, the tour, as men say, and such.
I mean, it's a combination of failed and bad booking and story writing with a combination of a little bit of jealousy because for John Cena to be John Cena, and I'm not a big fan of him, but you just got to, arguably one of the greatest to ever do it. Like his hard work and dedication to the craft, you can't argue that. But yeah, this is supposed to be his last run. You're really gonna bank all of your you're really gonna have all your eggs in a basket that is Travis Scott? Really? Okay, cool, fine. That doesn't work. So now we're gonna have a heel turn that we can't really develop properly because the story writing is bad. Okay, now what are we gonna do to kind of like fix this? Insert Brock Lesnar out of nowhere. Okay, they've had a rivalry, cool, but you squash him on a PLE without any type of fight back, like he's, Tozawa or something, and it was just like, okay, Triple H, are you still do you still have some like resentment and jealousy because he was the guy while you was there and even after? Because it's like I could get a small child to have them write a better storyline than that. Like, what are we doing? And I think finally now we're starting to get a better developed storyline by seeing him go against AJ and to see him maybe become the Grand Slam as he goes against Dominic. Little things like that make sense. It's like, okay, now we're getting somewhere. Having him go against like Logan Paul is like, what are we doing? Like, can we stop with the cheap pops and the trying to go viral and all this? Like, we got to operate from storytelling, not from moments and virals and comments and likes and things like that. We can't play into the current system that we were a part of before this.
Yeah, I think what happens is that WWE, once the whole takeover thing happened, it's like I almost feel as though that it became a money siphoning machine because it seems as though TKO was losing money on the back end, especially due to UFC. So they needed to find a way to recoup some of that old money that they lost, and WWE was the best way to get it back up. As for the Cena thing, it's really, really difficult to watch and go through because I expected a lot better than this.
Definitely.
How would you have booked it? Like, just armchair booking, fantasy booking. How would you have booked it?
So one quick way, it's funny that you asked that. One quick way I thought of, and it just happened because shout outs to Killer Cross. A couple of exchanges he's liked and retweeted some of our stuff, so I'm really appreciative and super big fan of his. He was saying something on his timeline, and I just chimed in and I was just saying, like, it would have been an interesting storyline to have seen you actually, become your true self and let you, go off and do your writing the way you wanted to. Had you had actually corrupted AJ, had you actually corrupted Sami Zayn, you could have started to develop, like, oh, these are my accomplishments. And then you look at babyface John Cena and see him as the biggest accomplishment and trophy and work towards that. So now we actually have a storyline going on where it's like he's little by little trying to corrupt it, and you maybe see some issues and moments where he may kind of slip into that. He might have the belt and have like a chair shot opportunity, like little things like that. I think would have made it for an interesting storyline without it being so forced. Like, we have to find something for John. We got to stop what we're doing with Bloodline. We got to stop what we're doing with Cody. We got to make him do something, make him the winner of Elimination Chamber, make him into Royal. It's like it was forced down our throats. And it's like, I get it because John Cena is John Cena, but we got to do it in a way where it feels natural and it doesn't feel forced. And I felt like off the top of my head, that was one of a decent way that you not only get John Cena in a good storyline, but you also get what we always wanted. Killer Cross in a good storyline, him actually tapping into his potential that we all see that the powers that be didn't want to realize.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned, carrying cross and there's a killer cross scene is all like, yes, sir.
I like it. Yes.
Shirt came in the other day. Yeah, one of the biggest disappointments that I had for this past year. Shout out to Cross, man. Good dude. Hung out with him a time and was
That's what's up.
really, really, really pleasant, man. And it was a really unfortunate time and see that they were releasing, but I still have hope that something could happen. I don't know, maybe, I don't know, but even still, my look for the Cena thing, I think they pulled the trigger too soon. I really thought that it should have happened at Mania. That would have been the biggest pop that we would have seen. It happened at Mania. You could have had such a great baby face run circa Hogan Warrior in Mania 6. Been a great face versus face, hero versus hero kind of look. We'd have finally got that kind of maybe peacemaker, Homelander kind of look going on, and then we get to see the Cena turn, and that's when it'll happen. If this is what you wanted to do, I think they knew that it fell flat. And to be fair, I'm gonna say that, and I'm gonna, I guess, 50-50 to believe that Cena is calling his own shots. But yeah, that Brock Lesnar match was just, I don't even know what was the need for it. You might as well just, you might as well just save that for, I don't know, like a Raw or something. It was just a waste of an appearance. I don't get it. But
I agree.
they made up for it with that in my opinion, a beautiful ode to their careers, Cena and AJ. I thought it was just one of those matches that just said thank you to not only the audience but also to the people that got them there. Well, what was your thoughts of that match?
Listen, that match, I think, honestly should have been his final match, because it's going to be very difficult to top that. AJ is, arguably one of the greatest that we've had, one of the greatest that we've seen. So already you're setting the bar kind of high, whoever comes after him. And granted, there was talks about Gunther being the next opponent. I've already been very outspoken. I don't like Gunther. I don't like the way he wrestles. I think he's boring to me. But I am the minority. I understand that he is very widely loved and respected for how he wrestles. He's the wrestler's wrestler, as they call it. So I think somebody like him can, rise to that occasion of wrestling after AJ. But I think that was a really, really great match. I think the ode that they were paying to the wrestlers, I think even the announcement that John Cena wrote, including Bullet Club and all of those types of things, I think that was really impactful, and I think that was really dope. And I love that AJ was not prepared for that. Like, seeing his surprised look, I think was so captivating and memorable.
It goes to say that many years individuals have said that Cena was a politician in the back. That he was always the Vince guy, had the old man's ear and such. But you get those instances in the retirement tour and even in other people's careers where John has actually extended that thank you or that boost or that push that no other people would talk about or even say, because John was never really that guy to want to get that kind of stroke and such like that. He was always doing it on his own. It's humble. A lot of guys in the business don't get the gratitude that they should. Who was the guys that you show love and was a fan favorite of when you started becoming a fan of wrestling?
When I became a fan of wrestling, I think like most people around our age, I'm a '80s baby. I was definitely Stone Cold all the way. Stone Cold, to me, even as a child, he always was fascinating, because I mean, obviously, I was a kid, so I never had a job. But to be able to go to work and give the finger and stone cold stun your boss and spray beer and all types of stuff on him, I was like, this guy is literally my spirit animal. Like that's amazing. And now as an adult, I appreciate it even more because every day I go into work and I've had different jobs where I'm like, yo, I will lose it right now and I will catch you with the F5. Like, please stop playing with me. So I think he was always my favorite. Rock was a close second. Now that I'm older and I can understand the storytelling and the appreciation of how the direction of certain things went, I have to put Shawn Michaels in there because he actually kind of ushered in the Attitude Era. Got to give it to R-Truth, low key. That's my guy. I don't want to make sure I want to make sure that I include him. Growing up, who else did I love? Edge. I have the Rated R Superstar belt because of him. So I love that. There's a lot. I mean, I think the Attitude Era, you had to love everybody for one reason or another. Like everybody brought something great to that time period. Like from Val Venus being the horny porn guy coming through with the towel, Al Snow with the innuendo. Like if you know, the different styles of Mick Foley. The Dead Man. It's just everybody, Godfather. Like it was a beautiful time to begin an appreciation for wrestling. So I would say, yeah, definitely those are some of the wrestlers that come to mind.
Yeah, for me, Attitude Era was an era of characters and in an eclectic form array of gimmicks. But I don't look. I'm slightly couple of years older, maybe a year or two older. I'm really not. Really not. But my whole recollection and my feelings about the Attitude Era has always been like it's not as great as people like that believe it is. It wasn't. To be honest with you, there was that segment of my time where WCW was the first show that I watched, and then I would watch Raw after because cassettes record, those kind of things. But in this day, we're looking at, I guess you can see the renaissance of that occurring once again with the AEW WWE thing going on. What's your thoughts about the other product, the land of the misguided misfits over there in AEW?
So yeah, I'm still getting my grounding and still trying to familiarize myself with everything that's going on with AEW. But one thing I could say is that I am always thoroughly entertained, whether it be a PLE or a regular episode. Everybody there is given 130%. I don't know everybody's names. There's some people that stick out to me that are really, really talented and have some really good charisma. Orange Cassidy, I love the fact that he wrestled with like his hands in his pockets. Like that's so disrespectful. Like I'm here giving it my all, and you're just chilling, nonchalant. That's so funny to me. You got what the Young Bucks are really really talented. Like they're a running joke, but at the same time they can wrestle somebody. Like they can run circles around them. Swerve, I love his theme song. Like he's just a really talented. Of course, you gotta give credit to Will Ospreay. So I love what AEW is doing. I actually just posed the question on one of our streams because I'm still learning everything about AEW. So when I found out that Tony Khan's father is like the owner of the Jaguars or something, I'm like, he's one of the 20 top 20 billionaires or something crazy like that. I was asking the question, like, with that much money and backing and resources, why is AEW, or rather will AEW ever become bigger than WWE? Because I feel like they have the talent, but a lot of people were basically coming together and saying they need crossover talent. They need somebody like their version of The Rock who can do movies, who can do TV, and come back and still bring attention and focus to the brand. And I don't think they've necessarily had that yet, but I think that there's enough talent with the right things, positioning, and the stars aligning. I think we can maybe see something like that. I think with what you have with Mercedes Moné, is getting pretty close. Like she's on her way to break a record that I don't think anybody's ever going to come close to. Little things like that. I think you have the ingredients there. You just got to have the right cook.
I can help answer that question you had. You play video games?
Of course, yeah.
You play sports video games?
I get my ass beat a lot, but yeah, I try.
When you play a sports video game, or even when you play a wrestling video game, do you play on simulation or do you play on arcade?
Usually put it on arcade.
Arcade meaning that it's more fun, it's more open. You know, you could have 5 finishers as soon as the match starts.
Like that. Nah. Okay, well, no. I do like to work to build up to it because that's a cheat code. It's like if I could start it's kind of like that TNA match where it was the Dudleys versus the Hardys. I was like, yo, did I just see a 3D 2 minutes in? Like,
right.
I kind of want to build up. So no, I wouldn't put those type of stipulations on. I guess I would do simulation. The other choice.
Let's say like you play in the NBA 2K, you got fatigue on, right? Everything's like you want to coach the game as well. You want to
yeah, all of that. Yeah, I want the full experience.
That's what WWE and AEW is. That's the difference. WWE is simulation, AEW is the arcade. You're already starting off with 5 stars finishers. You're ready to good. Nobody gets tired. You get to run it, and it's not a bad thing. It's a preference that people are into. You know, it's. You either want to pick up and play or you want to grind it out and you want to see what the build is that's going to happen from here on out. With AEW, there's you've seen that there's a lack of structure for those who've been watching for a while. It was hot for the first 2.5 years because they had a structure. Tony Khan had a blueprint of what he wanted to do to get from point A to point Z. And once it happened, then what? And it just, that's when I believe the lunatics started to run the asylum. It took me that long to where I had to say, you know what? Maybe I just need to switch my mind off the simulation. Maybe I need to, get out of the matrix and just watch AEW for what it is. Just matches and just go with it. You mentioned the TNA match between the Dudleys and the Hardys. What's your thoughts about the partnership with WWE and TNA right now?
I think the partnerships are a catch-22 because, like, with what we're seeing with TNA and AAA, it's great because I think it's giving more eyes, more notoriety, more attention to brands and wrestlers that maybe necessarily wouldn't have got that otherwise. Like, I was very well aware that there was a AAA in the midst out there in the universe somewhere, but it wasn't until I saw Lola Vice, Dominic Mysterio over there where I actually started to pay a little bit more attention. TNA, same thing. Now that I got Jakara, who's now, Mara Sade, you got people jumping back and forth. It becomes more inclusive. So now it gives me a reason to want to watch it more. What I don't like about it is that WWE is only doing this because it's a dick measuring contest, because it wants to control and own everything. And eventually is trying to basically either phase out or probably own and dismantle AEW or any other competition. So that's what I don't like about it. It's like you don't see the value in them. You're just using them because they're a bargaining chip to make you and bolster your numbers and your appearance. So that's the only reason that I don't like it. But I'm very happy for everyone in TNA, everyone in AAA. I'm seeing a lot of great talent, a lot of people that I haven't, been privy to otherwise. And I'm, becoming little by little fans of them as well. So I think what they're doing with TNA is great. I hope they keep it up. I just hope that it's not, I would like for them to not limit it to just NXT though, because you have top tier wrestlers on TNA who can rival your SmackDown and your Raw roster without question. The women alone would dominate. So I just don't want it to seem like TNA is on NXT level, and NXT has, improve their level over the years. So they're not the little bro anymore. So I think we just need to start respecting the talent and respecting the brands more because it's not what it was a couple of years ago, and they need to understand that.
Sitting there chopping it up with our guy Blackout the Rebel for Bell to Bell podcast. It's refreshing to see that, you know, podcasters out there, just as they do with the promotions that we watch. You know, it's either it's competitive or it's a joint venture. You know, as my the producer of the New York Wrestle Media, our guy, the boss Rich, always says, "Iron sharpens iron." You know, and that's how,
Definitely.
you know, we get together and we can make each podcast stronger and each uh um viewpoints even louder and opinions. When you're sitting there
Absolutely.
with fellow wrestling fans and such, uh you get into heated debates. There's this cultism that occurs with people to one side or another, the case may be, and such. uh Is it
Yep.
you find a way to you know, be that moderator in the middle? It's like, hey guys, we all love wrestling, or do we just like, hey, you know, one promotion is better than the other? Or, you know, how do we, as a podcaster, are we able to tote the line of whether we're going to be on one side of the fence or the other, or just be straight down the line?
I think that kind of depends on where you stand in as far as your intellect goes. So I think a perfect example for that would be how I feel towards WWE and AEW. Depending on the conversation with WWE, I'm way more well versed. So I'm gonna have a very strong, stringent stand on certain things. Whereas with AEW, I'm posing questions and I'm moderating because I'm not as well versed. So I'm here as a student to learn. So I'm going to be learning from both sides. So you feel this way about this particular thing? Cool. I want to know what's the contrast to that. And while in the midst of that, I'm learning both sides and I can make a more educated stance on the matter. But I think sometimes you kind of got to step outside of it and just try your best to be that on both sides, whether it be something that you're well versed on or not. It becomes difficult because somebody can say something really egregious and you just got to be like, all right, come on now. Like, I know you did not just say that. Like, you can't tell me something stupid like Perry Saturn is probably the greatest wrestler that WWE ever had. It's like, okay, now we gotta fight. Like, I'm sorry, like I don't even want to be a moderator. Just move, help me move this furniture. We gotta fight now because some things are just egregious. But I think you just gotta have that emotional and mental fortitude and maturity to kind of know how to navigate and de-escalate situations and conversations when they get a little too out of hand, a little too rowdy, a little too one-sided. Because eventually, sometimes you start it starts not becoming the issue. Now you're going back and forth with each other. Like if I say The Rock is the greatest, and then you say, you know, Eddie Guerrero's the greatest, we can have a back and forth and we can provide facts. But as soon as I say like, oh, you're stupid for that, like, nah, you're dumb as hell. Now is I'm attacking you. I'm being disrespectful. I can have my stance and my perspective while still respecting you as a human being, as a brother, all that other stuff. So I think that's when it becomes a situation where you got to have that moderator skill to be able to, like, all right, let's take it back here, guys. We're all on the same team. We both love wrestling. We just have different views on this particular matter, and then know how to spin that and, you know, transfer that into the next conversation.
It'll be funny if somebody ever told me Perry Saturn is the greatest of all time. It'll just be what?
I tried to think of like the most wild person. He's the first one.
Shout out to Perry Saturn, man. I did
Nah, yeah, shout out to him. No disrespect.
Not gonna say that he's up there the whole time. One thing where one place where we know we would hear these conversations is it's in a certain genre of wrestling that not many people know of. Especially where I work at, people know that I'm a podcasting guy, I'm a wrestling podcasting guy and such. And you know, they'll always come to me with the whole classics, you know, the Attitude Era was awesome, bro. Oh, what you think about that new promotion or whatever. But when I tell them that I go to indie shows, they have this look on their face like, what the fuck is that? And you know, they're like, oh, is that the wannabes or is that like the minor leagues and such? And I was like, dude, you do not know what a wrestling show is until you've gone to an indie show. How long have you guys been ripping and running and going to indie shows and such?
You're absolutely right, and it's perfect timing for us to have this conversation because we met back up online for House of Glory that just passed,
Right.
and honestly, that was my first indie show. Like I
Really?
said, we just started back in March, and I started watching wrestling again. Funny enough, it was it was NXT. It was a match between Nikita Lyons and Caden Carter. So
Out of
I just saw ass, and I was just like, oh, we doing this now. Because in
out of
my era, all I saw was Lita. So yeah, let's do it. But yeah, that was my first indie show, and you're absolutely right. Indies is a whole different ball game. Like they're still as athletic, they're still as charismatic. Um, it's indescribable. You really got to go there to kind of feel what it's like. And I'm not going to sit up here. Yeah, I think it's very disrespectful to say that. Oh, it's the minors or something like that. It's like it's its own thing. It's your preference. It's kind of like it's your 1A, 1B. It's like you got rappers and then you got battle rappers. So it's like it's kind of a difference. But what I've seen with the indies with House of Glory, shout outs to them, I absolutely loved it. I had a really, really great time. I'm doing my best to see if I can do the one coming up in November for Brentwood. I'm not sure about it, but yeah, it's a whole different ball game. And yeah, you get the diehard wrestling fans, the people that you know can call wrestling moves like they've been watching ever since Hulk Hogan was lifting weights back in the day in high school. Like you get like the real diehard fans. So I think it's really educational. It's really fun. It's very immersive. If you're a person like me who grew up liking wrestling and loving wrestling, but still stepped out for a few years and doesn't know all these different new wrestlers and different brands and different things like that. It's very educational for me. I like to be a student and absorb the information that's going on. It's an amazing time.
It's good that it's actually really good that you brought up battle rap, which is something that a lot of people aren't aware of. For you guys who are not in the know, like hip hop is just P Diddy and just
Oh
Eminem
God.
and Eminem.
Yeah.
I want to do the Prince face that he did when he talked about my mic is always on. um, it's funny that you mentioned that because this day and age, there's a lot of battle rappers who are into
Yeah.
professional wrestling.
Hmm.
As a matter of fact, I ran into DNA a couple of times at indie shows. Once you get in the circuit and you start seeing this, you're like, holy shit! Like they're
Yeah.
here. It's crazy. You know that the West Side Gunner,
Yep. Fourth rope. Yep.
they're into the wrestling and started to probably start. I think they started their own promotion, or they will, so one way or another. Um,
Hmm.
what's your thoughts about the meshing of the two worlds of hip hop and wrestling? Because back in the day, wrestling was always thought of like that rock and right, the rock and
Yep.
wrestling thing. Everyone mostly came out to like metal music or rock music, and now
Yeah.
we've seen that shift in the past 10 or so years that hip hop has become more influential in the wrestling. What's your thoughts about that?
I mean, once again, it's a catch-22 because it's like depending on the situation, I think it's a great look. But then again, it can be dangerous and delicate if it's not done properly. So it's great because I feel like we finally have a voice because there's a lot of people of color who want to wrestle or maybe want to be a producer and have themes, but they just never saw themselves in that because it wasn't a whole lot of people spotlighted in that way. And now today you kind of have like you have your own lane for that. You have like Fourth Rope, like you said with West Side Gun and Smoke Dizza and all of them. Um, and just wrestlers in general, they're taking the reins more. Like you're seeing more authenticity. Like um, some theme music like Javon Evans. You got Leon Slater. You got certain things like it just feels more organic. But the reason why I say sometimes hip hop isn't great for the mixture is because once again I'm sorry, I got to bring it back. Why did you think that Travis Scott was going to be the savior for like, what did you see that gave you the promise? Like because I wouldn't bank on anybody if I don't see the commitment. Like Jelly Roll is a perfect example of what happens when somebody is in love with the culture and really puts in the work. I think he lost how much weight, like 70 plus pounds or something like that.
Yeah, like close to 80 something pounds. Yeah.
That's amazing. Great. Like kudos to him. When I see that, that's when I'm more invested. But just because you're just the poppin' producer right now, or you just came out with a new album, or your label's in cahoots with everything, it's like that's not a good enough reason to put so much stake into you at such a high level. Let this had been, Alpha Academy or something cool, not a huge deal. If this falls flat, we can still pick it up and keep it moving or act like it never happened. But to put that as such the forefront of what is going to shape the next couple of months, especially for somebody on a retirement run, I just don't understand the mentality behind it. But overall, I think hip hop is really great with the mixture. I'm not mad at it. I think it gives a lot more variety to what we see and what we hear. I'm in love with all different genres, so I'm not mad at seeing more EDM. If I see more country, like just how you can blend it and make it your own, I'm just all for that.
I'm just happy that Def Rebel is on their last contract. Yeah, yeah.
So am I.
It's been punishing for the last few years. I mean, not to say because everybody cries and it goes, they should bring Jim Johnson back, and I'm like, yeah, I think he's fine. Sometimes he may be a little bit out of touch once you get to a certain age, and unfortunately, hopefully, one of those days, I'm not going to be too much of that get off the lawn kind of guy. But yeah, you need something fresh, you need something new. It says that WWE will be leaning more into getting more copywritten music, probably letting some of the superstars get their old music back to the one that they like. They get to choose and such like that. Um, we
That's
talk
cool.
about celebrities in wrestling and such. My future Hall of Famer, Bad Bunny. Who another one who you say, I always tell people, since you came back and such to wrestling not too long ago, and they always ask me about wrestling. If I want to get back to wrestling, what should I watch? And I always tell them Backlash, Puerto Rico, Bad Bunny versus Damian Priest. And the reason why I say it is because not only was the match pretty damn good, but just the energy, the vibe, the sound, like the crowd, everything about that match was all around. And yes, I'm gonna be biased because I'm Puerto Rican. Fine, I get it.
No, listen. What is this? Spanish Heritage Month?
Yeah, right. So,
Yeah. No, you got it.
so, what's your thoughts? I mean, you talked about Travis, you talked about Logan, but other than like them, what's your thoughts about utilizing celebrities in wrestling this day and age? I mean, it's a common practice, but what's your thoughts about it now?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great. I think the cross promotion is good, especially if they're already avid wrestling fans. I think that's really the important factor that needs to be established. I don't want you to hear just because you have, 5 million people on Instagram or TikTok. Like, I want you here because are some type of fan. Like you researched enough or you watched this enough to say, hey, yeah, Randy Orton's my favorite wrestler. I just don't want you here for the wrong reasons. So I think it's fine. I think it's great if done tastefully. I remember, you had Mike Tyson on there. We had Donald Trump, which thankfully he did get stunned for. You had like a lot of good things. Maybe they weren't wrestling fans, but it still was good and it worked within the story and the confinements of that. But I would prefer that they are actually a fan of it because it makes it feel a lot better. You see them try harder. You see them, want to make sure that this is right. So I just want to make sure that I think that's the important key part and that they take it seriously. And I'm glad that you did bring up Bad Bunny because I think he's a perfect example of that because, as big as he is, he doesn't need to do wrestling, but he chose to do wrestling and not just do wrestling. He did a street fight with Damian Priest, who is not a small guy, and he's not one of the lower tier guys either. But for them, I think it was just more important that they did they represented for Puerto Rico, for the Latino community. And it was, like you said, it really was an amazing match. And for all of those components, for them to both be Puerto Rican and do it in Puerto Rico, I think it spoke more to them as to y'all as a people, more so than I'm a celebrity, I'm gonna come do this wrestling thing, they're gonna pay me a bag or whatever the case may be. No, I think certain things is more, it touches you and hits you more. So I'm happy about that. And with it, shout out to since we talking about it, shout out to Mike Santana, Puerto Rican. He definitely just became champion, first Puerto Rican TNA champion or something like that.
First Latino
Yeah,
champion.
first Latino. Yeah. So shout outs to him. Shouts to back to Karrion Kross holding up that Puerto Rican flag at House of Glory. Like, I'm very proud of, all of y'all. I'm just regular black, but yeah, I love to see it. I really love it. Like, I love Spanish culture. Like, I've been around Spanish people my whole life. So to see y'all get the same type of, push and promotion that we fight for, I love to see that as well. So I'm happy for that. But yeah, celebrities coming into wrestling, I think is cool. Just depends on if you're here for the right reasons and if you work with the storyline of what's going on.
Yeah, I remember when I ran into Karrion Kross, I go to the back and shout out to my boy Homicide who helped to facilitate that as well. We another Puerto Rican great as well. Shout out to my guy. Go to the back to see Cross, and I run up to him, and because I knew he was Puerto Rican or partially or half or whatever case may be, and he's like, I'm like, mi gente, ¿cómo está? ¿Todo está bien? He's like, dude, I like, see, I was raised with my grandparents, and my dad, and they didn't never teach me that, man.
That's crazy.
We'll work on that. But
Yeah.
speaking of the Latinos and such, I also want to embark in the there's still like this resistance on putting black wrestlers over,
Yeah.
and I was there for probably the second biggest pop I've ever heard in my life in wrestling. I was there live for when Kofi won at Mania, and it was
wow. Okay.
a great feeling to see that live, and also just to feel the crowd, of all cultures and backgrounds embrace it and such. But yet, you still hear this tug of war. You hear MVP talk about, that there's still some underlining racism that goes on in WWE and such. But yet, when we look at great wrestlers such as Shelton Benjamin, Bobby Lashley, when you see Bianca Belair, Montez Ford, and such, but yet still, it still like that ceiling, just that glass got put up again. Are you feeling the same that I am, that there's still like some kind of like tug of war of getting us back over or not?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I saw somebody, and I would love to credit them, but I don't remember who. They did the analytics, and they were saying, I think, like 13% of the roster for Raw is black, and I think like maybe 7 to 9% of the roster for SmackDown is black, and predominantly all the black or people of color people that you will see, they're on the lower tier rosters, technically, quote unquote, like NXT and Evolve, and to some degree, I guess, LFG. So I mean, yeah, that's definitely very prevalent. And I know, TKO and Triple H are doing cuts with everyone. But if you look at the track record, it's a couple of people of color that are getting squashed here. Like, we just lost Wesley. We got R-Truth back, but for what reason did they try to make him leave was beyond me. Carlito left. So you're seeing a lot of people of color are getting chopped off that have the talent. And even when they are there, it's like, well, what are you doing with them? Carmelo Hayes hasn't done anything since he got drafted. Trick Williams is still in NXT. Why? Obafemi just lost his belt. Why is he still there? Wesley was they didn't do anything with him after he dropped the North American title. What is going on with that? Lash Legend keeps popping up on SmackDown. They're not drafting her. You let Jakara leave. Jada Parker has yet to ever get her real moment of glory to get something close to a title. Like, how much of that are we going to see? Like, thank God Kalani Jordan is doing something. So, yeah, I still think it's very evident. I don't know why that is. But talent is going to always speak for itself. You're always going to see what it is, whether you like it or not. And I think that's evident with, some of the people that I just named. Is evident with, Killer Cross. We're not talking about race anymore. We're talking about talent. And unfortunately, if you're talented and black, it's like a double negative, because it's like, we don't want you to succeed that much. We want to lock you away in the tag team division, like they did with Caden Carter, like they do with the Street Profits, like they do with New Day. It's like, good grief, we can survive on our own. We don't need to just buddy up just because we happen to share the same complexion. So I think it's terrible that we're still talking about this in 2025. It would be different if it was more evenly matched, where you have a higher population and some of them are getting burned without, while some aren't. But it's crazy because a lot of people who aren't as talented are getting the burn, and that's also what's frustrating and troubling to see too. I don't know.
Yeah. I often feel like sometimes, well, many times, that it's all right, guys, here's your Ritz cracker. Enjoy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Enjoy. I know you've been hungry for a while. Enjoy your Ritz. There you
Yeah.
go. We ain't no butter, no nothing like that. You get no dipping in anything. So after you got that, you got to go back to the same old bullshit.
Yep.
Before I let you go, because man, we could rip and run here for a minute.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, like you say, you guys started podcasting in this year or so and such, within the year. How's it been going, man? Like, I mean, I remember when I first started podcasting, the first years, I just was excited getting the rip, get it going, loved it, the attention, loved to have the conversations and such. And then I started realizing that it became more of a hobby, and then it became a passion, and then now it's just become um something that's become my therapy. Now it's become, after 12-hour days of work, being a
Wow.
single dad and such, it's now become that that forum for me just to release and just go. And now I've done even fucking ridiculously more stuff now, because now I've put together a freaking network for this shit. So like,
That's what's up, man. Congrats.
what's been your thoughts about being able to put together this podcast, and how's it been helping you out with wrestling and such?
This has really been helpful for me because I have an outlet to explain my frustration every Monday and every Friday, because WWE just doesn't know what to do as far as a proper cohesive storyline. But it's been cool, like, being able to do something with some friends and you guys all share the same passion and also the same work ethic, I think is also important, where people know their strengths and their weaknesses. Like, I'm not really the analytical numbers guy. Thank God mainstream is. He's the one that's posting all the videos. He's the one that's looking at, the proper time to release this post and all that. I'm not doing that. I'm just here to give my opinion, which seems to be going well. But it's been fun. Like, if you would have told me last year that I was going to go to R-Truth's Ron Killing's listening party, or I was going to be in a suite watching SmackDown, and the SmackDown where John Cena did the babyface turn this year, I'm going to be at House of Glory watching, Zeta Steel, who some people may not know because they don't watch Evolve as much, and watching Killer Cross, and, these great wrestlers, these great moments and stuff like that. I would have been looking at you like, really? That's crazy. But, it happens. If you just put the work in and you keep your ear to the ground, have a couple of dollars in your pocket to make some moves happen, it's been really fun. It's been really an enjoyable ride, getting together with people that you don't know that well, having really impactful thought conversations. It's been great having, watch parties and stuff like that. Like, we met at, Seneca.
Yeah.
I forgot which PLE it was. It might have been maybe WrestleMania or something like that. But, just seeing the friendships and relationships forge from something that we all share a passion for, I think is really dope. I've been having a great time. I don't see myself ever having a bad time, even on the bad days, which is usually every Friday because SmackDown sucks. even on the bad days, it's good to just get together and just have a mutual frustration. Like, I hate the fact that the tag team matches only defend belts on SmackDown. You never see a PLE for a tag team. It's like, yeah, I hate that too. And it's just like, we get to have this, moments where we get to, it's cathartic. So I really enjoy it. I love that, it's coming from a beautiful place. Like, we're not trying to be on ESPN. We're just a couple of guys that like wrestling, want to get together, and we're going to do our best to get it out there, but we're not shooting for anything specific. So I really love that. I love that we're not tainting the internet with, dumb think pieces like all these other outlets are, men this, women that, going half on the bill. It's like, no, let's just talk about what we love, what we don't like about it, what we think they can do better. And let's just have a fun time going back and forth about that and be creative with how we do it, be different from other podcasts in our own individual way. So I'm in love with the whole process.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't want to be on ESPN, but I'll probably be on the Ocho. I'll probably be maybe like on the one that's not on the ESPN Plus subscription.
Yeah.
I can get some love on Telemundo or
yeah, the one that R-Truth is not telling you how to download or watch.
Exactly. Well, we're gonna wrap it up here, guys, ladies and gentlemen. Showing our people at Bell to Bell some love, man, for the podcast. And yes,
thank you.
It's such a it's a secret society that I always say about when it comes to us as wrestling fans.
Yep.
I can walk around with this shirt and I'll get one or two people walking down the street going,
yep.
I get it. Don't too sweet me, because I'm not too sweeting anybody. I'm not doing that. I have my own, which is, that's it. We'll do that, but I'm not sweeting anybody. But where can they find you guys at, and what's upcoming for on your next podcast, your next ventures?
So yeah, you guys can find us Bell to Bell podcasts on Instagram. Same thing with TikTok. We have a watch party for Saturday Night Main Event. That's November 1st. We're going to be at Spice on a Slice. So that's in Shadyville, Queens. It's free to come because it's just a pizza spot. So you're just going to watch wrestling with us. You're going to kick it. Maybe if you want to get interviewed, that's fine too. We'll definitely do that. We might have some pyros and some smoke and some things like that. So we're going to make it really interesting. Come get a slice of pizza with us and just chill. We have our season 2 starting up. We took some time away for the beginning of the school year, but we're going to be back November 2nd with our first real episode. We have Rembrandt. Shouts to him. We're going to be interviewing him. We have, I think we have the final John Cena appearance. We got that locked down for Spice on a Slice as well. We're working on some things. We're trying to maybe see if we can maybe start going out of state, trying to go to other shows like that. But yeah, we're doing a lot. I've been producing a lot of music lately. I've been producing a lot of beats. So I'm going to start marketing myself to other wrestlers. Like, if you need an entrance theme, I got you. So it's just, just trying to be as creative as possible, just trying to put ourselves out there. But yeah, that's pretty much what we got coming up right now.
Interesting. Might need to hit you up for a beat or two, because I have some intros that I need. Some generic.
I got you. Let me know the genre. I pretty much do, as you know, I do hip hop, but I really love pop and EDM. That's really easy for me. 1, 2, 3. I do R&B. I have a couple of country records, and I have a couple of rock tracks as well. So you let me know what you need, and I can get it to you.
Nice. I'm gonna need to do that, because some of the generic shit is just dreadful. But other than that, man, thanks again for your time, man. Gonna don't disappear after the recording cuts off. Got some stuff to chat with you with. But
I'm here. I'm good.
For you guys who've been watching, thanks again for checking in. Make sure you check us out on all the social media outlets. Check us out on our like and group page on Facebook. Make sure you check us out on Instagram, on New York Wrestle Media. Make sure you check us out on TikTok. And of course, you like and subscribe and be a part of the vibe here on New York Wrestle Media on YouTube. And of course, check out all the podcasting outlets. We're everywhere. You're never there, but you should be. And make sure you guys always check us out when we go live. And as always, check you guys in a sec. Sit, turn type, sit. Good boy.